Consider the third case, a source with sine squared power pattern. Now, U equal to um sine square theta, then the total power radiated is P radiation equal to, because is a constant, we will take it outside, 0 to 2 pi and 0 to pi by 2 sin square theta, sin theta, d theta and d phi. Now, as you are taking outside, then sin square theta and sin theta is going to be sin cube theta, d theta and d phi. If you integrate this equation, then you will get 8 by 3 pi into Now, so this is the power radiated by a source with sine squared power pattern. Now compare, so this power with power radiated by the isotropic radiator, that is 8 by 3 pi equal to 4 pi u naught, and this is the power radiated by isotropic radiator. Then directivity D is equal to divided by u0, this is equal to 3 by 2, going to be 1.5. This indicates that is equal to 1.5 times of u0. What it indicates that the power radiated by a sine squared source is equal to 1.5 times of the isotropic radiator, and for the sine squared the radiation pattern is like this. Now consider the fourth case, a source with unidirectional cosine power pattern. That is, you have one particular source, its power pattern is a unidirectional cosine pattern. Then U is equal to cos theta, and the power pattern for a unidirectional source is shown here. That means that it is radiating in one particular directions. And so these are the half power points. Now the power radiated is equal to U into d omega with the double integrations. Now, so the limits of integration is 0 to 2 pi and 0 to pi by 2. U is cos theta, d omega is sin theta, d theta and d phi. Is a constant, you will take it outside and take all the theta terms on one side and the phi terms on one side, then 0 to 2 pi d phi and 0 to pi by 2 cos theta sin theta into d theta. If you integrate this equation, we will get the values equal to pi into Now compare, so this power radiated with isotropic radiators, that is pi equal to 4 pi u naught, and from this equation the pi and pi will go, okay, and we left with um by u0 is equal to 4. What it indicates that equal to 4 times of u0. The power radiated by a unidirectional source with a cosine power pattern is equal to the 4 times so that of the isotropic radiator. Consider the next case, a source with unidirectional cosine squared power pattern. In this case, U is equal to Em cos square theta, and the pattern looks like this. Then the total radiated power is P radiated is equal to a double integration U into d omega, and U substituted from this equation, U equal to Um cos square theta, d omega is sin theta d theta d phi. Um is a constant term, take it outside, then 0 to 2 pi, 0 to pi by 2 cos square theta sin theta d theta and d phi, and integrate theta term separately and the phi term separately, then it is 0 to 2 pi into d phi and 0 to pi by 2 cos square theta sin theta into d theta. The integration of this equation is going to give the value as 2 by 3 pi into um. Compare this with isotropic radiators, 2 by 3 pi um, and for the isotropic radiator it is 4 pi u0. If you compare this, then the directivity D is equal to um divided by u0, and this value is going to be equal to 6. And what this is indicating is that the maximum power radiated by a unidirectional cosine squared source will be equal to 6 times that radiated by the isotropic radiator. All these 5 cases what we have studied will indicate that, so depending upon the type of the source, whether it is unidirectional or bidirectional, sine or cosine, sine squared or cosine squared, so the directivity of the antenna changes. Now consider the next pattern, so that is the field pattern. As you already know, the electromagnetic field radiated by an antenna consists of two fields. One is the electrical field and another one is the magnetic field. And for antenna radiation is considered, both electrical field and the magnetic fields are existing. Now, so both are transferred to the direction of propagation, that is the electrical field component and the magnetic field component are transferred to the direction of propagation, and they are perpendicular to each other, and they are in phase, and they are related in magnitude by the intrinsic impedance of the medium. So that is intrinsic impedance of medium is called 120 for the free space. That is, so these are the few characteristics of this electrical field component. Now, so this is the figure which is representing the relation between the electrical field component and the power radiated. Now, as you know, the antenna radiates both in the horizontal direction and the vertical directions. Therefore, we are considering the two angles, one is the theta and the other one is the phi. And so this is PR is a power radiated by this particular antennas, and the various components of this antenna, that is the electrical field component and the power radiated, okay, will be shown in these particular things, and the magnetic field component is not shown in this. Now, so this is the angle theta in the vertical directions, and this is angle phi in the horizontal directions, and E theta is the electrical field component in the vertical directions, E phi is the electrical field component in the horizontal directions, and PR is the radiated power. And this PR we are also calling it as a Poynting vector, and the Poynting vector contains only the radial components, and we have the transverse electrical field which contains E theta and E phi. E theta means electrical field component in the vertical directions, E phi means the electrical field component in the horizontal directions. And the power radiated is calculated from the equation 1 by 2 E square divided by eta, where so this eta is equal to intrinsic impedance of the free space. Now, let us consider E theta is the electrical field component at any point, and E theta m is the maximum electrical field component, and E phi is the electrical field component in the phi direction, and E phi m is the maximum electrical field component in the phi direction. Now, you can calculate the relative field components by equation E theta by E theta m or E phi by E phi m. So, this is going to give you the relative field pattern with respect to the maximum value in the theta direction, and this is going to give you in the phi directions. Then as for the point sources are considered, we are considering only the far field patterns and not the near field patterns, and this far field pattern is inversely proportional to the distance, and this far field pattern is a function of theta and phi. Now, when it is a function of theta and phi, you have to calculate the fields in the theta direction and you have to calculate the fields in the phi directions. The field in the theta direction, E theta is equal to 1 by r f1 of theta comma phi, and the electrical field in the phi direction is equal to 1 by r f2 into theta comma phi. That is, this f1 and f2 are nothing but the functions. That is, electrical field component in the theta direction is function of theta and phi, and the electrical field component in the phi direction is a function of theta and the phi. And the maximum radiated power is calculated from the equation Em square divided by 2z, where Em is the maximum value of the electrical field intensity E. Now, the relative total power radiated is equal to the square of the relative total field patterns. Then we can write it as Pn equal to Pr divided by Prm. So, this is equal to U divided by Um. So, this you can write it as E divided by En whole square, call it as equation number 4, where this Pn is a relative power patterns. Why you are calling this as a relative power pattern? Because we are comparing the power radiated by antenna at any instant of the time at any location in the sphere with respect to the maximum power radiated by the antenna. So, therefore, it is called as a relative power pattern. Now, consider an antenna whose field pattern has only phi component and 0 theta component. That means to say that E theta component is present, okay, and E phi component is not present. In this case, because it contains only E phi component, so then we can have the ratio of E phi divided by E phi m, where E phi is the electrical field component at any point on the sphere, and E phi m is the maximum electrical field component. And this is equal to cos phi, we will call it as equation number 5. Then the relative field pattern Pn equal to Pr divided by Pr, where Pr is the radiated power or the Poynting vectors, that is Pr divided by Prm, that is Pn equal to Pr divided by Prm. This U divided by Um, you can write it as E phi divided by E phi m whole square. Now substitute equation 5 in equation number 6. Now you know that E phi divided by E phi m is equal to cos phi, and here you have E phi divided by E phi m. So in this place you substitute the cos phi. If that is the case, is that then Pn is equal to cos square phi. And now the electrical field patterns and the power patterns are shown in this. So this is the power pattern calculated from this equation, and this is the electrical field component calculated from the cosine functions. Now once you calculate this, we are getting the field patterns. One is the power pattern, another one is the field patterns. In this, so these are the half power patterns, and so this is how the power patterns and the field patterns looks. Now consider an antenna whose far field has only E theta component and 0 E phi component. That means that an antenna radiates signals and its far field contains only the E theta component and E phi component is 0. It means that E phi component is not present. Then as usual in the previous case, E theta by E theta m, we can write it as sin phi. Then the normalized power will be equal to sin square phi. Now for this particular case, so the field pattern looks like this and the power pattern looks like this. Now we have studied two separate cases where the far field contains only the E phi component and the far field contains only the E theta component. Now we will combine both the things, means to say that the far field contains both E theta component and the E phi component. If that is the case is there, now so this is the field due to the E theta component, as you can observe it here, and in the previous case, so this is the patterns what you are getting when only the E phi component is present. Now both E theta and E phi components are present. Now so the radiation patterns of the antenna should look like this, and this is the sphere where you are having the radiation from the antenna, and E is the total electrical field produced by the antenna, which contains both theta component and the phi component. So now, so this one we can show it like this. Now here you have an antenna. So this antenna radiates uniformly in all the directions. So this field, radiated field, contains both theta component and the phi components. Okay, that means to say that the radiation will be present both in the horizontal directions and in the vertical directions. Now, when you are combining both theta component and the phi components are present, then E by Em equal to root of sin square phi plus cos square phi. Now for this case, you are having the sin square phi, and from the previous case you are having the cos square phi. Then you can write it as root of sin square phi plus cos square phi equal to 1. So call it as equation number 10. Then the relative pattern is equal to Pn is equal to E divided by Em whole square, and this value is equal to 1. Call it as equation number 11. And this is all about how the power patterns and the field patterns are there, how this power pattern and the field patterns are related, and how it can be drawn. So depending upon the whether the theta component present or the phi component present, whether it is a function of sine or whether it is a function of theta. Now consider the third pattern, that is phase pattern. Now in order to understand the phase pattern, let us consider the 4 points. The magnitude of azimuthal component E phi of the electrical field as a function of r theta phi. So that is electrical field component in the phi direction, we are calling it as a azimuthal component, and we are supposed to calculate the magnitude of this azimuthal component, and it is a function of r theta and phi. And similarly, the magnitude of the polar component E theta, that is electrical field component in the theta directions, we are calling it as a polar component, and you want to calculate the magnitude of this electrical field component, and that is also a function of r theta and phi. And the phase lag of E phi beyond E theta as a function of phi and theta only. That is, E phi is lagging behind E theta, and it is a function of phi and theta only. And the phase lag of either field component, that is E theta component or the E phi component, beyond its value of reference point as a function of r theta phi. That is, when you are considering the phase lag of either theta component or the phi component beyond the value of some reference path, that is also a function of r theta phi. Closely if you observe, when you are calculating the phase patterns, we are considering r theta and phi.